I've always wanted to go back to that particular time of jazz and razzmatazz and gangsters and this new kind of new world. It was a new world at the time, right? And, you know, this undiscovered charted territory of where Black people may end up and who we were at that particular time.
I got a chance to watch The Porter, and I also spoke with Alfre Woodard the other day. So it's exciting to talk to you about the series. So what was it like going back into the 1920s era for the show?
You know, for me, I've always loved like that particular era. I grew up on like 1940s movies, which had predominantly white people in it, other than like the Nicholas Brothers and Bojangles, a bit of Sammy Davis Jr. But I grew up on those movies with my mum. And so I've always wanted to go back to that particular time of jazz and razzmatazz and gangsters and this new kind of new world. It was a new world at the time, right? And, you know, this undiscovered charted territory of where Black people may end up and who we were at that particular time. And funny enough, there's this movie called North by Northwest with Cary Grant. It's an Alfred Hitchcock movie. And as I was doing The Porter, that movie came on. And there's a moment where there's a porter that comes in and serves Cary Grant. And he's kind of the butt of the joke for like 5 to 6, 7 minutes. And I thought how fascinating that we're in a situation where we're doing a movie or a TV show, that it feels like a movie, to be honest, but we're doing a TV show that goes behind who that person is and who those people were that served their community, that built up life and actually see, you know, how mirrored it is to this day. You know, there's a lot of things that have progressed and there's a lot of things that remain really the same. Yeah.
Why did you feel like this was such an important story to tell? What made you want to be a part of the show?
What made me initially was that era. And I think what made me initially was Junior, the character. Is a really dynamic man. You're talking about someone who's just come back from the war, World War I. We've not gone into World War II yet. This is someone that was someone that's a decorated hero, but comes back from, you know, serving his country and effectively been able to, you know, kill white people in those circumstances in war. But when he's brought back into 1920s Montreal, he's in a situation where, you know, he is subjugated to being in the same position. And this person has now come back with Zeke with like skills to protect themselves and their family. So I find that very particularly interesting. The rise of the gangster story is very compelling to me. What turns someone's head? Like Junior's a guy who's just trying to make good for his family. He has a son who has a disability and a wife, and he's just trying to make good for his family. But circumstance turns on his head, and it's like, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to wait for change to occur, or are you going to be loud or smart, intelligent, and find ways of fighting back and getting ahead? You know, those things really appeal to me because it's the same thing we're in today. I had a funny thing that just happened to me a minute ago. I just did a movie in England called Borderland, and I'm the star of the movie. And the particular Sky, who are the distributors, put out the first images and said it stars this person, that person, that person. Put out an image of 2 white cast members and left not only my face out, but my name out. Do you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And this lack of, and I decided to tweet about it. And in my career before, I've just been like trepidatious about saying certain things because of fear. And it's characters like Junior, people like the Porter, and I'm not bullshitting, like these people and going through their experiences really inspire you to find a way to use your own voice in moments that are important. Now, being left off a poster might seem like a trivial thing or your name left out, but being unseen as a Black person contributes to perpetuates all the bigger problems we have. If I'm unseen as a Black person in this circumstance and then kind of decategorized as a Black person and dehumanized as a Black person, by the time someone comes out to do certain things to me, whether it be kill me or something else, you're in a situation where people don't even feel empathy because of, they're like, well, aren't Black people like this? Well, I don't really see them. I don't really know them. I don't have to converse with them. And so these stories are like more important than just an actor saying so. They're really fucking important. You know what I mean? So I am having those personal experiences has made me really I'm always drawn to that anyway, but it's made me really understand what this is about. Yeah.
And speaking of not being seen, so many people are anxiously awaiting for Rustin, which is going to, debut on Netflix, about civil rights activist Bayard Rustin. So you play Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the project. How did you go about transforming into such an icon like Dr. King for the role?
I mean, hopefully successfully. It's such a big thing, right? I was doing the Porter actually when I got the call to audition for it, and it just so happened I was looking a bit more like Martin Luther King with Junior, But how I went about it, once I got the part, I went into a feeling of like, really trying to spiritually understand the person and the man at that particular juncture. And I did that by listening to a lot of George C. Wolfe, finding out what Martin was reading and listening to, and the things that informed him as a young man, because we start the story, when he's younger, and then we build to the "I Have a Dream" speech. So that was something that I kind of really, took on ground, a lot of meditation on that. And then, effectively kind of sitting in the role. I had people kind of meet me as my version of Dr. King. I didn't really, my personality wasn't present while I was shooting the movie, for the most part. I'd turn up as that. So, but you just try and service the larger story, and it's the larger story in this particular iteration is about Bayard Rustin and his contribution to the civil rights, and his contribution kind of being erased from history because of his sexuality. You know what I mean? So, I was there to serve the larger story, and hopefully I did it service.
And you previously mentioned that you're excited for people to really learn about Bayard Rustin and learn about his truth being such a force in a time like the civil rights movement, but while also being pushed to the back because he did identify as LGBTQ+. So how timely do you feel like this project is when the community is at risk of having their rights stripped in so many ways?
Yeah, I mean, every other is extremely important right now, every person who, art is the great history teller. It's the story of griots, and art has been used to perpetuate certain points of views that shape our worldview, and therefore, people have a different experience in life. And so I think it's really important that this gets shown and it's out there, and it's done with the type of people it's done with. You've got the backing of Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. These are huge figureheads in society that have been, they'll live in history for, possibly eternity, so it's, I think it's really important.
And then obviously you had such a great success with Boxing Day, which was on Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah.
And there was so many great reviews. So how was the reaction from viewers?
Oh my God. Do you know what? I mean, in England, it was like big and it was amazing, and people loved Boxing Day. And it was personal for a lot of people back home because we've just never had a Black British rom-com that reflects our way of living and all that. But my greatest thing was like, I live in America, I live in LA. So people coming to me in Los Angeles and saying certain things about this movie, especially LA, like New York and Baltimore, East Coast, they know a bit more about Black Caribbean culture, but that's amazing. There was a moment actually, I was at a mate of mine, James Samuels, who did The Harder They Fall, the movie. I was at his premiere and I was sitting down in the foyer. I just got off a plane and I was sitting down there, and Kelly Rowland came rushing up to me. And she's coming rushing. I was like, Kelly Rowland's just coming towards me. She's coming towards me. She's coming towards me. Oh, hello. What's going on? She's like, oh my God, I loved your movie. I said, what? What movie? And she's like, Boxing Day. I said, my movie? She's like, yeah, I loved it. I love Leanne and Asia and the movie. It was so beautiful. I was like, what? So, those things don't cease to like keep me warm and feeling good about it, or, what I mean? So that was really good.
Well, now that you made history with Britain's first Black rom-com, what are you looking to do next?
I have some ideas. I have some ideas now. I am there's two projects specifically that they include the diaspora, and it's set in the 50s, 70s, and 2035. And yeah, so that's something I'm really looking forward to. And then I've got this other genre movie that I'm going to direct, which is a genre, it's kind of based in LA. But yeah, no, my company, Studio 113, we're really pushing towards that. You know, I don't know if Porter's going to second season yet. I hope we do. But I'm kind of in a sabbatical moment and just focusing on the writing and directing for the next 6 months to just really push forward on the success we had with Boxing Day. So, you know, watch this space, as they say.
Well, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I look forward to seeing all of your forthcoming projects and to see what you're working up next.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.